Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio is one of the greatest places on earth. This roller coaster haven is located on a peninsula on Lake Erie, and the location is breathtaking. It creates one of the coolest atmospheres of any amusement park. If you plan on visiting Cedar Point from out of town, you have three main ways of getting there. You can fly to Cleveland, you can fly to Columbus, or you can fly to Detroit. Although you can theoretically fly to Pittsburgh and package Cedar Point and Kennywood. I personally flew into the Columbus airport because it was the cheapest for me. However, Cleveland is the closest to the park. However, it is worth noting that Cedar Point is very hard to get to without a car. I mean, there are ways you can do it from the Cleveland airport. However, I highly recommend getting a car. Cedar Point is the coaster capital of America, and it is very close to a lot of major cities, so it gets absolutely slammed, like Universal and Disney level slammed. To be fair, makes sense because this is kind of the Disney World of the Midwest. I visited on a Monday and Tuesday in early August, and it was absolutely packed. If you're visiting this park in the summer, don't even bother coming unless you have fast passes, because you will be stuck in line all day. Also, if you decide to splurge on the fast pass, which I highly recommend, I also highly recommend the drink program, which essentially allows you to get free refills all day. Also, if you don't want to spend all that money on a fast pass, you also have one-shot fast passes. This would be super helpful for rides like Siren's Curse, Top Thrill 2, or Steel Vengeance. Another thing worth noting about Cedar Point is sometimes they do not accommodate row requests. I tried to get the front row on Top Thrill 2 5 times and I never got it. However, if you want the back row on Steel Vengeance, the crew members will usually let you have it. It's usually on Siren's Curse, Top Thrill 2, and just the other super popular rides. For lodging, there are a lot of hotels around Sandusky. However, I stayed at the Hotel Breakers, and it was a pretty chill hotel. The best thing about Breakers is the easy access to food, such as TGI Fridays, Perkins, and Domino's. Another great thing about Hotel Breakers is early entry. I really recommend early entry, and if you do early entry, hit Top Thrill 2 first, because it's very susceptible to downtime, so if you hit it immediately, that's great. Also, that is a line you don't want to wait in later in the day, especially since it's like the Incredible Hulk at Universal, where it has metal detection, and the line is super boring. Now, you may be asking, when is the best time to visit Cedar? Try to come when Ohio's schools are still in session. If you can't do that, then visit at the back end of summer, like late July or early August. Whatever you do not come during Mayfly season. That's from May to early June, because if you do that, there will be bugs everywhere, and you will not be able to ride in the front row of Top Thrill 2 or Millennium Force, because your face will just be pummeled with bugs. Also, I recommend if you come to Cedar Point to do 2 days. Now, if you have Fastlane, you should be able to do everything in 1 day. The reason I say you should do 2 days is it gives you peace of mind and allows you to enjoy the park without rushing. You can even do 1 day with Fastlane, 1 day without. Also, the food at Cedar Point is pretty decent. I only had one meal during my 2 days, and it was chicken tenders and biscuits at the farmhouse, and it was pretty good. In conclusion, Cedar Point is an amazing park to visit. It has some of the greatest coasters on earth and has a gorgeous setting. However, there is a lot of preparation involved with visiting. If you aren't prepared, this park will eat you alive. The park may be $45 for entry, but if you're going to have a good time here, you're going to have to pay a lot. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for listening to my review. If you have any questions about Cedar Point, leave them down in the comments. I will try my best to answer. Anyways, guys, I'm BGX Coasters. Have a great day, and God bless.